Hi, everybody. It is Friday
Howdy,
night,
howdy.
and I'm here with my friends, and we are getting ready to play PoliTarology. Now, before we get started, I do have to let everybody know, yes, I'm still just a wee bit sick. I'm on about 45 different medications. And just so that everybody can be at ease, I am not going to cough my way through the whole show. I have asked my sister and Gerald to help me with that. So this may be, unless I'm doing a reading, this is probably the last you're going to hear my voice. So welcome to PoliTarology, and Cleo, take it away.
Okay, so now that I have complete control, yeah, do do put your questions in the chat with all caps. But we have Colleen's prepared a few questions that we could start with, and this one is pretty interesting. So there we go. Why is Mr. T going to France, and how will he get there? Well, supposedly, he's going to, and we can all jump in on this one. He's going to France because of the opening of the what is it called? The thing that burned down.
The Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yes, the cathedral, and he's going for that, or that's his excuse for going. But then he will be meeting with some high up officials from France, and I don't remember their names either. One starts, I think it starts with an M.
Macron.
Yeah. So this is kind of interesting because one thing we haven't really been talking about on here is how hated Trump is around the world. And now that he's pulled this stunt with the tariffs, threatening all these tariffs, and it sounds like if he gets in, he will do it. Nobody likes that because it's going to cause economic downfalls.
People.
That too, but around the world. I mean, it's just because he's picking on right now Canada, Mexico, and China. Well, China does a lot of trading with France and back and forth, and this guy from France, Trump is expecting to go in there and be welcomed because he's the new president. This guy from France is not going to welcome him at all. I mean, he may start off a little bit friendly, but he is totally disgusted with this guy, as is a bunch of leaders across Europe and across the world, actually. And now Trump is going to be taken back a little bit, but he's still got that ego, and he still thinks that he controls something because he's going to be president. And this guy is he's going to read him the riot act in a very nice way, depending on how the whole conversation goes. I mean, if he has to, he is disgusted with Trump. He knows that Trump is a felon. That is going to kind of interfere with this little visit to France right off the bat. He knows that he's a liar. He knows everything about Trump that we know and more, because I'm telling you, people in the higher ups in Europe know more about what Trump has been doing than we do. And so he is hopeful that Trump does not doesn't make it through the inauguration, doesn't make it into the White House, but that could still happen, obviously. And and the other part of your question about how will he get there, I think he's taken his own plane to France. And hopefully he actually really goes, because it's kind of, there's something in the works here. There's been divine intervention. They really want, the guides really want Trump to make it to France, so that the guy, what'd you say his name was again?
Macron.
Macron?
Macron, yeah.
It's French, Macron.
Okay. That this guy is going to let Trump in on the fact that not only he, but many others do not approve of Trump at all. They don't, it's not just the tariffs. It's just that they find him an immoral man who has raped women and is, a misogynist and is, everything that we know about Trump to be bad. These people are already aware of it, and they do not look forward to doing anything with Trump. And as a matter of fact, Trump, what he's forced these countries to do, I mean, I don't quite understand the economics around the world, but apparently a lot of the things that we buy and sell through to other countries and them to us is paid for in American money, our money. Well, France is already doing work with China, and they're not using American money. So what this will, if Trump gets in and he continues on this same vein of trying to attach tariffs to everything and just not being a good person. I mean, if they do this thing, they can ruin our economy just by not using our money. I mean, there's a bunch of things going on. Like I said, I don't understand the economics of the world and why, I would just think, well, France uses their money and China uses, I guess it's not quite like that. So anyway, whatever's going on with that is a big, big deal. But what the bigger deal is I had seen that about halfway into the month that some big thing is going on with Trump. Well, it actually begins with this trip to France. That's again why the spirit guides really want him to go. And it starts there and then it continues on. And this is where we may actually see things go upside down for Trump. I mean, I know there's like a half a dozen different ways that things could come up like this. But what I had seen before is I thought it had something to do with NATO. It does. It has a lot to do with NATO. But something about this trip to France and who he's meeting with and the officials he talks to, I think that they actually tell him, why don't you just get back on your plane and go home? Because we really don't want you here. We don't want this type of person that lies and deceits and does all the things that Trump does, that they're just not on board. Isn't it France? Was it France that gave us the Statue of Liberty?
Yes.
So, I mean, they have a very tight bond with us, but not with Trump. And so this is where
France was who helped us out with the Revolutionary War.
Yeah. But this is going to get very, it's going to get very hard, not just for Trump, though. I mean, we're going to kind of be seeing some stuff like, what happened there? What's going on? And it's all happening between now and about the middle of the month, plus or minus a few days. And then it will go on into December. But there is stuff happening that may, and France also knows about how he interfered in the elections, and they are going to, I think they're going to mention that. I mean, I heard that this was the kind of stuff that the NATO guy was going to talk to him about. I don't think that happened at all. I think the NATO guy just went in, and just sat back kind of to watch what was his mental health like, and, is he really off his rocker, which I'm sure he figured out that he was. But he didn't confront him like the way I'm saying that the French guy is going to confront him.
Yeah. Shari, do you have thoughts on this question?
I do. I do the Five of Cups, looking at loss. Then I do the Four of Swords. He's looking at exile, and I think he's weighing his options. Because then I pull the Chariot, because he's trying to figure out how to get there fast, because his plane's not going to make it. And I don't think First Lady Dr. Joe Biden is going to offer him a seat to share the ride there, even though she's going to be there. And then the last card I got was Judgment. Not what he's expecting to go get, but he's what is going to happen. And I think between Macron and whoever else is there, they're going to be telling him, yeah, we know what you did.
Yeah. Cleo, I am getting similar feelings that you're having, they're they're in the know. The French public is in the know, as well as the politicians. Part of what I'm getting is it's a good thing that he's not going to be in the United States, because there's going to be opportunity for the energy to shift. And in the middle of this, I have the 7 of Cups. So you mentioned maybe going to exile. He may be networking while he's there, seeing where he can go. But on either side, they're 4s. So this is an opportunity. He's got to step away, the 4 of Swords, because he's got to get out from all of this. And the 4 of Wands, he's got to figure out what's going to be where he's, what the possibilities are. But boy, 9 of Wands, wearily defensive gardens. He is not going to be welcome. You nailed it, Cleo.
Yeah,
you nailed it. So yeah,
technically he's not even supposedly allowed to go into most of these countries that are NATO countries, because he's a convicted felon.
right.
Yeah. Somehow France is like, yeah, c'est la vie, come on in. So I threw a few cards. I'm using a different deck tonight. I'm using the Mystic Martian Oracle, because I think that's as weird as this situation is. And I think there's 2 levels going on here, because I think there's the level of Mr. T talking to Macron and maybe other probably NATO leaders or leaders from NATO countries. But then I also think that he has a whole other shadow agenda that he's going to be conducting. And I actually think he's getting the message from both sides, a very similar message. The card that I pulled for him first was the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are very, very controlling, domineering species. They are very black and white. They love the drama and the conflict, just like Mr. T. And I don't think that they're going to allow him to call the tune. I think they are going to call the tune, and I think they're going to call it on him. Both sides, because he's going to also probably meet with Marie Le Pen, who is probably the person who finagled his invitation in the first place. So with the Anunnaki thing, that's controlling, that's drama, that's conflicts of interest, and so he's all wrapped up in that, both with Macron and Le Pen. And then I got the, I've never seen this card before in this deck, so this is really interesting to me. The Ebens mystery. This is kind of like, if you look at this guy, what this species represents is really kind of the space in between, the liminal space, the thing that isn't this or that, kind of a science experiment. They talk about this, the Ebens, as being captured species, species that came to Earth and were injured and are now being kept alive like in a lab. So species that aren't really on their own terms. So he's going to feel very much not on his own terms. So I don't know if his plane breaks down once it gets there, but he's going to be really off his game and off. He's not going to feel comfortable. Plus, there's no Trump hotel in Paris. So where's he going to stay? Is he going to sleep on the plane? He doesn't like sleeping anywhere that isn't his. It's a real thing with him. So I don't know where he's going to stay. And the final card I got was Alchemy, the Philosopher's Stone. And this just indicates that this is going to be an eye-opening experience for him, which I think is leading him closer and closer to this possibly vascular event that I feel that he's going to have at some point, where he just gets closer and closer and closer to the end of what he can absorb and wrap his head around. It's just unfathomable to him that these people would disagree with him, not accept him, stand up to him, insult him to his face, and try to put him in his place. This is just unfathomable to him. And this makes him feel like rage, like he wants to explode. But what can he do?
Yeah.
He's not president yet. He doesn't have an army behind him. He doesn't even have, what's his name? Epstein with him to call out the bodyguards or the henchmen. So I think it's going to be a really horrible trip for him.
I have to put this up there. Geneva White said, nice chance to visit his handlers at the Russian embassy.
Wow. Yeah, good point.
I would
Boom.
not be surprised if the P-man was sitting in the little room over there and we need to have a talk.
Well, I think if he's there, it's just one of his doubles. But I will be very interested to see if Mrs. T is actually on this trip, because she is his handler.
Good point.
Yeah, and he might do something like that to make it look better. And thinking also that I don't know if he's aware of the welcoming he's not going to get, and
No.
also, you're right. When he gets there and and things aren't going so smoothly, there's nothing he can do, and it really frustrates him, because when he's in our country, he's got control of all these. I mean, right now there's so many people dancing around and kissing his ring. I mean, it's just blowing my mind how many people are coming out of the woodwork acting like, oh yeah, we've always been for him. We love what he's doing. I'm like, well, you're not going to love it in the long run. He is really creating a mess, and people in Europe know this, and they're watching it, and they're fearful because, like I said, it's not our economy. He will destroy our economy.
Mm-hmm.
Within a year, it'll just be, the country will look like it's bankrupt, and there'll be such a divide between rich and poor. And the poor, I'm talking like you're making $250,000 a year. Good luck. You're going to be on the poor end of things, because prices are going to go out of the stratosphere.
Yeah.
It just dwindles down, and it takes a while for all that to happen. And where are we going to get all our supplies that we've been banking on from China and all the other countries?
Yeah.
I think they're just going to be like, no, they might send a few things over and, let the Americans go ahead and pay that 25% tariff. But for the most part, they're just not as interested anymore, because the is being a little unreasonable.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I'm saying is that there's something going on time-wise in the month of December that has a big effect, has to do with this trip to France. And I think we're going to see something in the next few weeks, hopefully.
I've been hearing a lot of readers getting the same vibes. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got that from day one, actually. I just always thought that wasn't over and we needed stuff to do. But did you see the comment that Marina put up about the election? So I think that's really important. Romania is just the latest in a series of countries, and this is what I think NATO is really glomming onto, that there's a string of countries that Russia has interfered in their elections, and it is changing the balance of power around the globe, and that just should not be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's to be paid attention to, because this might be the very first step of the catalyst that maybe will do something here.
Well, I didn't hear specifically of what she's talking about with Romania, but I did hear something about, I don't know if I heard it or if I was told it by my spirit guides, about that there's election interference around the world, starting with interference from Russia. So Russia is busy. And, Trump feels totally comfortable with it, because he thinks that him and Putin are like two peas in a pod, and more than likely they are. I'm hope, we may see something come up with this after they've done the recount of the election stuff, or they may just say, you know what, we can't actually do the recount. And we've done some of it, but there's been so much interference. There's been ballots tossed away, and they don't exist anymore. So it'd be really hard to get the proper count of what's going on here. But you're going to see, I believe, many other countries come together to help us, because we've always been there to helping them. And they see what's going on, and they know that we have a dictator in the works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And something that I got a hit on was not just the other countries wanting to come to our aid to help protect us from 45 and his minions, but they might actually be able to step in and halt things from happening by simply placing a few well-made phone calls, or sending someone to come and speak to Senator so-and-so or House Speaker such and such, and about, well, we've got this information, we know what you did, we know what he did, we know what you've done.
Yeah.
Now let's see if we can't fix
There's
this.
a follow-up that Marina had. The guy who won the first round had no campaign, spent no money, but did his messaging through TikTok, wants to stop aid to Ukraine, and said Romania isn't bound to spend money on NATO. So there's a lot of things that are pointing to
A lot of
interference.
red flags. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just heard earlier that there was a pack that popped up under RBG's name like a month before the election. $20 million got dumped into it, and it was massive advertising, making it sound like it was for Kamala until it got towards the end of the ad, and it would knock her down and say, but actually, Trump supports da 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 da. And it was just, they finally just had to file their final SEC reports on where the money came from. Guess who opened that pack and threw that 20 mil in there?
Well, didn't they say that
The Muskrat?
Yeah, Muskrat threw in a $250 million towards Trump's campaign. I mean,
well, this was another one that was just 20 mil.
Oh, well, this is, he put Elon Musk put a boatload of money up for Trump to make sure that he got it, and it worked. But it worked because it was, everything that they've done is illegal. The voting was illegal. The voting was corrupted. It did not come out the way it should have. And the thing about NATO, the guy that came from NATO and talked to Biden and then talked to Trump, this guy has given Biden a lot of information that he couldn't have known beforehand. And when he went down to Trump, it was a smoke screen. It was just like, hey, good buddy, pat him on the back, look what you did, and let him go ahead and dig himself in deeper, which is what I believe he did. So yeah, there's just corrupt voting across the world. And we are stuck in the middle of it. And that's what I've been saying, is I just don't think that they're going to come up with all the votes that were really meant for Kamala, because I think it's been destroyed. I think it's been, electronically destroyed because of the work that Musk has done with his space. What's his satellite thing that he does?
Starlink.
Starlink, but it's not directly connected to the counting of that. What he's done is used chips to alter the voting machines. And then they probably won't ever be able to find it. I'm sure those machines were just, the minute they were done with them, they just hauled them off in a truck, like, okay, we're done with that, the election's over. Yeah, and so they're not going to they may not be able to find it. I'm sure they're going to find some of the stuff, though, because some of the voting just absolutely made no sense whatsoever. It didn't go along.
I just got to say, Cleo, in order for this video to be shown on replay, we need to be really careful about some of our language. So I know the people watching it live, they will have heard everything that you just said. But I think moving forward, we have to refer to him as Mr. T. The guy whose name starts with E can be any other thing. I wouldn't mention his company. I wouldn't even mention the thing that's spelled ELECTION. You can say NATO, you can say, that stuff and other things, but I've been listening to too many readers who are just like, yeah, that video got taken down because of mentioning direct things having to do with that. So just be really careful with that.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Sorry.
sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm trying to, I was trying to be upfront because yesterday I was just irritated. I was so cranky on the Golden Girls, and I apologized because I was just a little bit of a bitch. And I kept saying, this is not a reading. This is all from my imagination. Anything I tell you right now, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I was a little bit edgy yesterday. Today, I was just trying to be more upfront. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm so afraid sometimes, and it's not just YouTube. It's my guides are telling me I don't know if I just figured something out or if they told me something, but I am aware of certain secrets that I am not supposed to divulge. So
Yeah.
I won't be saying those things. But in the meantime, I'm just saying, just be aware that in the next couple of weeks, a lot of stuff is going to be happening. Some will be behind the scenes, some will be right up front. And when push comes to shove, we're going to have our minds blown. That's what I've been
talking about things up front. North Carolina, there was a recount, an automatic recount because it was within the margin of error for a state Supreme Court judge's seat. There was a Republican and a Democrat. She won in the recount. Now, the Republican is wanting to have 60,000 votes thrown out.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Because they're cheating. And fortunately, it seems so far that they've said no. But I mean, this is how desperate they're getting. They're just saying it out loud.
It helps that so many on that other side happen to be pharmaceutically challenged, and
thank you.
They're just not always saying things in the most realistic way. So that really helps us. But and everything YouTube is for entertainment purposes only, and we could be right, we could be wrong. It's just our guides talking to us, our opinions coming out. We don't want you to take the video down. Please don't take the video down. Okay.
Well, and also the energy of this changes very, very fast. However, the energy of the next couple of weeks we've been hearing about it for a while now, but no, the energy is so static. I mean, it's just up and down, up and down. And I know that it's been a weird year of energy, but it gets even weirder right now because we're getting to a critical point. So I'll leave it at that. So do we want to talk about how were Muskrat and Mama Swami received on Capitol Hill? Did they persuade any new supporters?
Yeah. Let's read on that.
Yeah. As are we talking?
I heard no in my head. So
Shari, you go first.
Isn't there a song called Muskrat Love? I think I need to get a little clip of that.
By Captain and Janelle.
Yeah, and play that.
I'm sure you'll get dinged for it. First thing I got was the Hermit. Followed by the Two of Wands. Followed by the Three of Wands. Okay, so they came out of their shell thinking, yeah, we're going to go shake everybody up. Everybody's looking at them like this is the only choice we have, really. There's nobody else. And so somewhere somebody threw in a third party. They're still not real thrilled about that. And then I got the 10 of Wands. I think those that were on Capitol Hill were like, okay, this is getting to be a really big burden to have to carry these numbskulls. I think they're ready to be done with it. That's what I got.
Okay. Do you have something, Gerald?
Well, how were they received on Capitol Hill? Just, joined it. King of Wands, provider of authority and charm. Charm comes off. They were trying to do a whole lot of something in order to make something happen. Saying things are going to get better along the way. That's supported by the Empress. So all things in the right time. All things in the right time. However, this is what I think is fun. It's like, did they persuade any new supporters? Something shady way.
Yeah.
I'm like going, this just leapt out, and I'm like going, the Seven of Swords. Oh, there's something shady going on. And there is a balancing act that has to happen, the Two of Pentacles, because when this sort of thing happens, people are forced to find their balance again so that they can respond appropriately. So,
oh yeah,
that's what I got.
Well, and as far as received on Capitol Hill, those right now, it's just such a love fest amongst the Republicans and Trump and all these newbies that before didn't have anything to do with Trump, but now that he's going to be president again, they're all jumping on board. So they see the whole purpose of what Muskrat and Mama Swami are doing with their new department that they're ahead of to stop the spending that we're supposedly wasting money on. And the whole purpose of that is to get rid of the waste so that the government actually has more money. And so they don't have to raise taxes on the rich. So the whole thing is everybody else is going to be losing out because, they're going to wipe out certain departments and just clear them out and go get a job somewhere else because we're not going to do this anymore. It's not needed. But still, there is other people that are looking around like, well, now this is what needs to be done. It absolutely is not what needs to be done. And it certainly doesn't need to be done in a blanket way of just like, okay, one day they're in and, it's like the Department of Justice. Like one day you've got thousands and thousands of employees, and then the next day you got a few hundred. I mean, they're acting like that would be a way to save money. And there's people that are supporting him on this. I mean, right now, all we can pray for is divine intervention that prevents this from getting any further than what we've heard about. Just hearing about it is scary enough. I mean, the departments they want to get rid of and their way that they're going to cut spending. And these guys, they're not politicians. Well, I guess that one guy is a politician, but Muskrat, he's going to handle it the way he handles his company. Just like Trump handles the country the way he handles his business. And it's just really a bad combination. And I'm just hoping it doesn't get to that. But as far they are being received well in Capitol Hill by the people by the wealthy people especially. And did they persuade any new supporters? Yeah, they did. But I don't know that it was really them. It's just that they're like, now that, everybody's just like accepting this, that Trump is, he's in January 20th, he's going to be in there. He'll have the keys to the White House. And here we go. And I mean, we are just being totally forewarned about what the future holds. And it looks really not good. Not good at all. You're muted, Cole.
Sorry, I didn't want you to hear the coughing before. So I think there were two sides to this. I think a lot that we got the blue avians here, and this is where some of the more MAGA and even some of the conservative Republicans are thinking, oh, new way of looking at things, just slash and burn. That'll get rid of the waste. And they're not, there's no real thought or educated logic to it at all. It's just like every single department or agency, just cut it in half. Sure, that'll work. And that is how, Muskrat has run his companies into the ground. But then there was the other side. There was the more progressive Democratic or independent side. And for them, I got the card that is the Andromedans. And these are the ones that are, yeah, we can think of progressive things. We can think of new ways to do things. But this isn't that. This isn't a good way to do new things, or this isn't a good new way to do things. This is just kind of like stupid. So I don't think they drew any different supporters. I think some of the support people who are now supporting them were not as enthusiastic as they are now. Now, having seen them, now they're like, oh yeah, goody, goody, this is great. But the last card that I got for them is the Greys. These two are the most unlikely pair ever as far as working together.
Isn't that the truth?
They are just terrible together. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Ramaswamy is a lawyer who has gotten sucked up into politics, and Muskrat is a bad business person who has made a couple of astoundingly lucky trades that has garnered him a tremendous amount of cash, but just wreaked havoc on every company he's ever bought. And I think that their flagrant inability to understand how badly they are seen in the public eye is just testimony to their own individual narcissism. I mean, these are two grandiose narcissists. I mean, you remember Mamaswamy, he really thought he was the second coming on that debate stage. Remember, what was it?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago now, where there was like 8 people on the Republican debate stage, and Ramaswamy was just, he believed he was mopping the floor with everybody. When actually people were really laughing at him, and they just couldn't believe how outrageous he was. So I think the two of them are just astoundingly unself-aware. And I think it's going to blow up probably after Muskrat has maybe before Muskrat has a falling out with Mr. T. I don't know. But they'll be close together. Those two explosions of relationships will happen quite close together. I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's move on to our next question. Has Mr. T had any additional health events since mid-November? Why are they posting his pics from the past?
And the reason I posted that is because the pictures that they posted of him at one point were like at least 3 weeks to a month old. And I think it was the pictures for Thanksgiving were like way old. They were not current pictures. And that's not the first time he's done that. He's done that quite a bit. And I think they're using doubles. I think that, he's taken a page out of Putin's book and he's using doubles, because I don't think that he's up to the task. Usually, I'm surprised he's going to France. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, because I don't know. Okay, go ahead. You guys read. I'll shut up.
His Thanksgiving pictures did not look like him. Number one, they were all blurry. Who the hell takes blurry pictures nowadays with the phones we all have in our hands?
Nobody, because they're all on autofocus. Jesus.
Exactly. I mean, and the few shots that you did get, it looked like somebody had stuck their face in a thing of paint or something and came up, like they do in the cartoons, to look like somebody else. They just stick their face in the.
You know what I thought when I saw
That's
that
what
one?
it looked like.
It looked to me like his head was the apple and he was a candied apple dipped in caramel.
Excellent.
I was just like, what the F is going on here? He's a human candied apple. That's his coloring, the drip down the neck, and
Wow.
right? Cuckoo.
Mm,
Cuckoo for
all
Cocoa
right.
Puffs.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the first part of that question. So,
Yeah.
um,
Health events, maybe.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think since mid-November. I think what has happened is, for entertainment purposes only, I think what has already happened is just progressing. It's nothing new.
He's not getting better.
He's not getting better. He's just
Yeah.
that things are wearing him down, and it really is just a matter of sort of keeping up with the. Well, they can't keep up with it. So
I'm trying to keep up the facade. And I agree with Gerald on that. But I think that Trump also, or excuse me, Mr. T, he has kind of gotten a boost because everything's kind of going in his direction right now. So mentally, he's just like, Yahoo, finally, I'm where I'm at, where I want to be. I've got control of all this. People are listening to me. Nobody's paying any attention to the real president right now. And so he's on a little bit of a high. I think after a trip to France, he might not be so high.
Shari, what do you got?
First thing I got was the Five of Pentacles. He's fast going to be held out into the cold at this point. I think that he's starting to really feel like he's going to be pushed out into the cold. And then look what pops up here. Justice. Oh my, justice is coming to knock on the door. And what does justice bring with it? Judgment. So we got the Five of Pentacles, justice, and judgment. And I don't know, I agree with Gerald. I don't think he's had additional health events. I think that whatever it was that happened to him, it's deteriorating rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
And he's starting to really he's really starting to look bad. And who was it? Somebody said in the chat, he would not allow a bad picture of himself to be floated all over the internet if he had any control over it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree. Cleo, did you go already, or?
Well, pretty much. I totally agree with both Gerald and Shari about this. That there's not been a real big major health event. It's just been the continuation and ongoing decline. So and also part of it's age, but part of it's he's got something going on with him that's not good. And so a lot of people think that if he does get in, that he won't be in there for a very long time because of a number of different reasons. So yeah, I think that he's also on this high. He's kind of coasting on a high, and that high either it's come. I think he's going to be really down here really soon, and I think it's coming right around now. And I think it has to do something with the trip to France, but he might not fully accept it. On the other hand, I feel him getting a little bit scared about something. That kind of like, uh-oh, the jig is up, and maybe he is not going to be able to cover for everything. And
I think they're all feeling that because they're all starting to act weird and like even more out there.
I think they've got the goods on him at some level, and I think he's going to find out about that, and it's going to be something really hard to deny.
Yeah. Yeah. And something I wanted to mention earlier about this whole French trip is that, um, in the United States, it's his reality show. And he's surrounded by showrunners who make everything suit and fit his reality, which isn't reality. So outside of this country, it's real life. And none of those world leaders need to kowtow to him. Not one. I mean, the president of Mexico showed them how to do it. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Justin Trudeau, went down there like a Kevin McCarthy to, kiss the ring or whatever. And what does he do? What does Mr. T do? He says, "Oh yeah, well, we're going to annex your country." I mean, what a what a slap in the face. I mean, that is I mean, to me, that's an act of war. That statement is an act of war, that we're going to take over your country. I mean, I think that is an act of war. I mean, that's kind of the definition, is we're going to invade. We're going to take your country over. But the cards that I got on the health thing, let me take a sip here so I don't cough all over the place.
And while Colleen is taking a sip, everybody, please remember to like and subscribe to all of the channels. I'm always working.
Thank
Links
you.
are scheduled below.
Thank you.
Links are below.
So the first card that I got for him concerning his health is Kabbalah, the Tree of Life. And what this says to me is, now in one of the earlier readings, one of the things in the cards was really him having a karmic comeuppance and him having a realization that the chickens have come home to roost. Jig is up. They know that, the emperor has no clothes. I'm wearing orange makeup all the time. I'm wearing fake hair that's combed over from, down below my ear all the way over across my head. I mean, the jig is up. And what I
I'd
get
hate
from,
to see what he looks like as he steps out of a shower.
it's very ugly. It's
if
very
you could even get him in the shower, but
The Kabbalah Tree of Life, though, to me says that each one of those branches are some sort of a disease that he is suffering from. So he has many, many, many health issues going on, which I guess is why I was kind of thinking that maybe he had some more events with those health things. But I think you guys are right. I think he had whatever he had over the summer sometime, probably right before or right around that first unaliving event. I think from then on, he was not the same. And I think that's when doubles started being used. But then we also have these two other cards, the Lyrans and the Reptilians. The Lyrans represent, strength and courage and bravery. And he's good at putting on a strong face when he's feeling up to it. But the man is almost 80 now, and he doesn't feel up to it on very many days. So it's hard for him to kind of make that happen. I'm sure they've got him on a cocktail of all sorts of pharmaceuticals and vitamins to make that happen. But the last card I got is the Reptilians. And this is kind of the prototype card of the Magus. This kind of reptilian is the bouncer. He's a strong man. He makes order with his fists or a weapon. He doesn't negotiate his way out of anything. He tells people what to do, and if they don't do it, he hurts them. And I think for Mr. T, the only thing that really strikes fear into him is if he doesn't have one of these guys around to bring order to his life. So I think that he is getting very, very afraid. And I think these health issues are not helping very much. And as far as the pictures, yeah, I think he's sanctioning those older pictures. I don't think he's sanctioning the ones that are out of focus, because I think they have run out of pictures to take where he looks decent. And so now, because he's kind of like in oblivion land, somebody else, maybe Susie Wiles. I don't know who's really running the show there for him. It used to be Walt Nauta making a lot of decisions, except when it was having to do with the campaign. And then it was, Susie Wiles and the other guy, I can never think of his name, on the campaign, but nobody was listening to them. So who was calling the shots? Was it Elon then? Was it Epstein? Was it, who knows? But somebody is calling the shots and they're not being called very well. And I don't think Mr. T is ever going to actually get well from any of the things that he's actually sick with. I think he's just going to continue to go downhill.
I got a hit when you held up that tree of life. If he had a series of small strokes, that can be a precursor to Bell's palsy.
Yeah, sure.
Where you start losing control of
Yep.
one side of your face, sometimes both sides of your face.
Mm-hmm.
And it will steadily get worse, where the dragging of the words is getting worse. The face looks weird because it's contorted, because you can't move it. That's what popped in my head. So
Yeah, and the Bell's palsy,
take it or leave it.
as a result of a stroke, is really apt, because it'll simultaneously shrink up and tighten muscles and cause a stricture, where you'll see somebody's smile just be sort of frozen up one side, like they can't close their mouth.
Yeah.
And then conversely, they'll have very slack muscles where they just have no control. And if it's around their mouth, food will just fall out of their mouth. I've had Bell's palsy. I've had this happen to me. And it's, it's demeaning, especially when, he's a person who sees himself as a television star. To have Bell's palsy happen to your face is devastating for somebody who thinks that their face is their business. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I was looking at, why are they posting his pics from the past? I did a reading on that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't like what I'm seeing. And what comes to mind in all of my cards is that line from that book, 1984. It says, "He who controls the past controls the future."
Ooh.
And I'm just, it's
Yeah.
like, I got Clarity Way, the Ace of Swords.
I don't like that answer either.
I've got Five of Swords, win or lose. The Knight of Cups, messenger of romance and invitations. So trying to manipulate. I got King of Pentacles, provider of prosperity and power. Because if he's in control, he who is in control, or whomever is in control, can do a lot of things. And then the Knight of Pentacles, messenger of slow and steady. This is just a slow deterioration of, and a slow shifting of control. And God, I hope not. Excuse my language, but sheesh. It's like, and it's one of those things. When I saw those cards, that was the first thing that popped out of my head.
I keep seeing Weekend at Bernie's in my head.
Do you guys think that Melania is going to be in France?
Let me look.
I'm doing a
I'm
pendulum.
not sure.
I'm doing a pendulum.
Me too.
Yep.
I don't believe in pendulums.
I got a really
I'm getting
low no.
It's a wobble, and it's not willing to move.
Yeah. But isn't he already there?
And then it went to no.
Isn't he already there? It's Friday night. And
Yeah,
they're ahead of us by at least 7 or 8 hours.
How did he get there?
You'd think
Did he
he'd make a
finally
big
give
deal
in
of
to-
it. That we'd hear about it on the news. Oh, Trump's on his way to France. Or
Let me Google it again. Okay.
I think there's going to be protests when he does get there. People there in France don't like him.
Did he finally give in to the Muskrat Man and let him take him on his plane?
Well, I had floated that in one of my videos, that he would loan him his plane if he could go, but he didn't want
He
muskrat.
doesn't want him to go. He's already had his fill of muskrat stew
I think
and
we
has
all
had
have.
enough.
I mean,
In the
I don't
more
even know how
flamboyant, I'm sorry, go ahead, Cleo.
I don't even know how muskrat got to the point where 1 minute we were talking about tea, and then all of a sudden we're talking about muskrat, and then they're like together, like he's this long lost son, and and one that he can't control, his hyperactive son. It's just crazy because it's almost like you got two for the vote of one. Somebody
And
else is calling shots.
and notice it just completely overshadows the supposed vice president, JD Vance.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Mr. Vance.
No, he only that he was berated by Trump for not being there for the votes in the Senate.
And he really screwed up on that because he called the
Really
person that called him out an imbecile. And then the next thing you know, Trump is saying, get your ass up there and do your job.
Yeah. I don't think he's there yet. I think either that or he's keeping it real hush hush. I mean, and for all we know, he has to have people help him down the ramp of the plane and help him get into a car. I mean, he's just frail and a mess. So, maybe he doesn't want anybody seeing what he's doing.
On a little bit different subject, the person that just put up this whatever thing you just had, that person also said, I'm wondering, this is a little off, something we were talking about earlier. I'm wondering if Trudeau's trip to see Mr. T was a cover for something else. I really feel that Trudeau had an ulterior motive to go down there. I totally agree. Yes, there was definitely ulterior, but partly I think that Trudeau was coming to him to say, have you really thought this through? Have you really thought about what comes from Canada? We rely on, I mean, like steel and different things like that. And I think that was part of it. And I think that he got nowhere with Trump.
I think that all these people who are not MAGAs who go to visit Mr. T, I think they all have the same motivation. They want to see the madman they're dealing with.
Yeah.
They want to see him live and in person. They want to see how far gone he is. They want to see if the rumors are true about the diapers. They want to, smell it up close and personal so that they know for a fact that this is what's going on. Because it's disgusting. And I don't think that Trudeau felt like he was really going to accomplish anything. He just wanted to see it for himself.
And I think that's a smart thing. He needed to, because not only did he need to do it, everybody else needed to see that he tried, that he did it.
True, but also any of these people, I mean, Mr. T has hosted many world leaders illegally at Mar-a-Lago.
Yes.
But think about it, a comment that Shari made early on in the show. Most countries don't allow convicted felons to cross their borders.
And is Canada?
Canada. Canada's one of them.
Okay.
So he couldn't have gone to visit, but he wouldn't go visit Trudeau. He thinks Trudeau is a milquetoast. He doesn't have any respect for him. He wouldn't go to Mexico. He doesn't have any respect for her. He only has
and Melania has the hots for Trudeau, so that's
but with France,
not the other way around.
Even though Macron is in power, Marie Le Pen almost won that seat, and Marie Le Pen is the European equivalent of MAGA.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's who he's going to talk to. Or Marie Le Pen is setting up a meeting between him and some other person connected to an authoritarian, maybe a stand-in for Putin, maybe a stand-in for Orban, maybe he's Putin or Orban. I mean, who knows? But I think that that's what the shadow agenda is going to be about. So, and also, I think that Mr. T, like a couple of you mentioned, is really contemplating whether he should just stay in Europe and not come back. Maybe he could say his plane broke down and he can't fly home.
Oh, no, that won't happen. That won't happen. It's too soon for something like that to happen. He would not give up everything by not coming home.
But he already knows that he's busted for cheating.
does he know? He doesn't believe it. Maybe he has been told. Maybe he has a guess about it. Maybe he's feeling a little bit concerned about it. But no, he's Trump. He controls it all. He has worked up to this since 2016. He has great control. He won that election. He did the big landslide thing, and he overdid it. And that's one thing that put the spotlight on the election is, wow, this didn't come out anything like what we were told by the polls. And so, no, I mean, he won't give it all up that easy.
So I just, here's an interesting thought. Perhaps the orange one is going to France simply to brag about what they have done.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because isn't that locker room talk?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think that talk will be received?
I don't think he realizes how it's going to
no.
be received. And I think he is going to be embarrassed. And the idea that he might not return, that's an interesting thing, but could be very embarrassed because, as I think Cleo said earlier, there's this, it's this reality is setting in, and he is not well liked. And it's starting to sink in. Whether or not it'll do anything different, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's just brought a whole bunch in the United States. He's just brought a whole bunch of new people in. He's got a ton of new friends, and he's got this crazy control. And he's telling all these people that he's putting in there. But in France, those people, they don't like him. They don't care. They don't. He has no control in another country. So yeah, he's big embarrassment. But
popcorn time.
Yeah, it does sound like.
And I hate popcorn, but yeah. Also, and I just got this, it may not be Trump looking to go into exile. It may be other countries saying, you're no longer on U.S. soil, you're under arrest, come with us.
That would be great.
You're muted, Colleen.
I mean, if there's a bunch of NATO countries there. But here's the thing, the United States doesn't belong. Sorry, doesn't subscribe to the World Court. And the World Court is who could arrest him for something like that election interference, I think. Maybe.
Wow, wouldn't that be mind-blowing? That it could be something weird like that something could come down and he just he cooks.
I've not thought of that at all until just a few minutes ago, and it just went right into my head. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. There's a thought. I don't know if I like that thought, but there it is.
So go ahead, Gerald.
I was just going to say, we're just a little over an hour. Colleen, is there one of the questions that you definitely would like to look at?
Should we talk about Joe Biden's health?
Yeah, let's do that.
How is Joe Biden's health these days? I know everybody's looking around like, oh, he's, because he looks like maybe he's a little bit tired or moving a little bit slow. It's really his age. I think his health is fine. And I also think that he, other people have said that he is, doesn't want to do this, that he's fed up with certain things. No, he is ready for this battle. He is ready for this. He was made for this time in history to happen. I mean, he is meant to be here. So his health is doing just fine, I think. And he's ready.
I almost feel like it's a blind.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shari.
I said, I almost feel like it's a blind. Like he's pretending that his health is weak to make people think, oh, he's not going to do anything. We can keep pushing.
Yeah.
And then he's going to turn around and bite them all in the ass. Pardon my French, but
Yeah.
I was actually, I think his health, I mean, his health is decent. He is of a certain age where things happen. And as he continues to go into this, I'll agree with you, Cleo, the idea that he was built for this. Because I have the Page of Swords, of course, taking the action. We all know this. Seven of Pentacles, waiting patiently avenue. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. And that is supported by the Lovers card. Now, it's not just romance, but it's partnerships, people working together, helping with choices, good teams that we may not know about, but we're going to start seeing it. And, you know, again, this is the Five of Pentacles, that struggle avenue. It's his physical body. I mean, let's say, you know, he is of a certain age. However, it's supported by the Ace of Pentacles, starting stable avenue. He's doing, I mean, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. They've got a good routine. They've got a good structure. He knows what he needs to do. He surrounded himself with the right people. So
he's got his dogs with him to
you know, and
fight anybody that steps out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 5 cards, 3 of them are Pentacles. So physically, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I pulled a couple of cards. The first one I got, and this is not a tarot deck, it's an oracle deck, and I got a pentagram. And it's protection and harmony, protection, idealism. And then I got the Galactic Federation, collaboration, meetings, community. This is his world. And the final card I got is the Arcturians, feeling safe, wisdom keepers, concern. So he is, and I do feel that he is not only connected to his angels, but I do feel that the ETs are really watching over him and really doing their best to support him in every way that they can. He's been given the speech. He's been given the little, briefing on the ETs. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. And he understands that they're just different forms of angels. So, he gets it. He totally gets it. And he's totally plugged into all of that. He's a Scorpio, man. He knows.
Well, and since he pardoned his son, and that's been such a big deal, and people, the Republicans are just going crazy about how wrong that they, and other people that aren't even involved are saying, boy, this was just a terrible thing that he did, that it was an injustice. What this was is, first of all, Biden, this is something he wanted to do. And he saw the opportunity and said, what the heck? I'm done with this in a few months.
I'm king for the day.
Yeah. So let me just go ahead and do this because I don't want him to go to prison for something he shouldn't be in prison for, that nobody else goes to prison for.
Right.
And also that he's playing Trump's game. Trump's game is diversion. Bring up something, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and we all focused on that. So right now we're all focused, or a lot of people are focused on this thing that he did for his son, that he pardoned his son. How dare he say he wasn't going to, and then turn right around and then he did it anyway. It's just so ridiculous, but it is. It's a distraction because they are busy. They were busy with other stuff. They were busy with many investigations and intel and working with people around the world that are trying to help them, trying to help us, basically. So, yeah, I think his health's okay. And I think he's just playing the Trump game. Like, okay, you can do it, so can I.
I agree.
Just get off the main thing of what's going on. So the other side is like, they have no idea what is coming. I mean, I think that Mr. T might have some idea, but he doesn't actually believe that it can be done. He thinks he's got it. He thinks he's got it all locked down, that he's pulled the biggest scam in history.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can hear it in what he says. He says, this is the biggest, what did he call it? The biggest, not comeback, but he said this, something like this is the most amazing election ever in American history,
It's like a month before the election, he was telling his people, you don't need to bother to vote. I got enough votes.
Right? Yeah.
How does he know that?
Yep.
Who controls the past, controls the future.
Exactly. Oh boy. Well, Mr. T, this has been a wild and woolly ride, and soon enough you're just going to turn into Mr. Toad, and we're all going to see it. I mean, I think that when the day comes that they're finally trying to put him in the ground, I think he's going to be so blown up they won't be able to get him into any kind of a box. They won't be able to shut the lid. That's what I honestly think. And I do think at some point, maybe not this trip, but at some point, he's going to stage a little runaway on the, premise of some sort of state trip like this. And then he's going to be brought back.
Yeah, so I think it's an important thing because we ended talking about President Biden's health, and we need to focus on what President Biden is doing, what he can do, and what he continues to do, and stop wasting our time and our energy on things that are orange.
I agree.
So that may be an unpopular opinion, however. There you go.
No, I don't think it is. I think that I personally feel like I don't want to go into great detail about what President Biden is up to, and just let those people take care of it. I mean, there's some stuff going on that is really confidential, and I don't even want to speculate on certain things because when it all comes out, eventually it will all come out, and we'll just be going, oh my God, this was what was going on. Oh God. I mean, it's going to be mind blowing, but whether it all,
and we're going to be saying, I said that. I told everybody that.
Exactly. But there is certain things I just don't feel comfortable saying.
No, we can't say it. So, well, this was great, you guys. This was a great show, I think. And people in the chat, I hope you appreciated the questions that we asked and the answers that we gave. And I appreciate all of your comments and all of the commenting, both just in the chat, but also the things that we were able to talk about. Yes, Gerald.
I was just going to say, didn't you do a Reveal the Future about this sort of stuff?
I did.
So go find it, everybody. Go watch it. Go play it a couple of times. And, use your power for good.
And we're doing
a great big thank you to Gerald for keeping everything running so smoothly tonight.
Yeah.
Use your powers for good.
Yeah. We're going to be doing another Reveal the Future this week, actually, or this coming week. On Wednesday. And I just put up a new thumbnail for it that it is going to be, what did I call it? I don't know what I called it. Something to the effect of, wait, it's not over. Oh, keep the faith. That's what it was. Keep the faith. It's not over. So please join us.
Not over till the fat lady sings, and I haven't sung in a long time.
There we go. So thank you, everybody. Thanks very much for playing PoliTarology. Thank you for indulging me in my coughing. And Cleo and Gerald, thank you so much for handling things for me. And I really appreciated everybody's conversation. Shari, thank you. As usual, you always add so much to the conversation. And
you're welcome.
We are going to be doing this again in 2 weeks, right before Christmas. So I think the 20th, right?
Yep, the 20th.
So
make sure
everybody marks it on their calendars and, dresses up in spiffy clothes. And we'll see you in 2 weeks for PoliTarology again. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye, y'all.
See you later.